Hello and welcome to this video in the measurement series on the volume of right prisms. Okay, so the volume of right prisms is what we're dealing with in this particular video. Now, volume itself, what is volume? Volume itself is space. It's what's the space that's being occupied by a particular three-dimensional shape or three-dimensional object. Okay, it is the actual space that's occupied. All right, so let's write that down. It is the space being occupied. Okay, so that is what volume actually is. So it's the space being occupied by an object, usually three-dimensional. In some parts of science, you may get something that's not three-dimensional. We won't go that far. We will stick with 3 dimensions. Now, how we measure it in cubes, in the number of cubes that are connected. In the number of cubes that are connected. Okay, and that tends to be what fits inside the shape. So we'll add that to inside the shape. And we use cubic units. Cubic units. Okay, so that's what volume is, and that's how it's all measured. Now, down below, I have a couple of common prisms that we have used in mathematics previously, and we will be using again. So here we have some common prisms. We have a cube. So a cube is just a square the whole way around, so a square cubed. Then we have the rectangular prism, and then we have the triangular prism. So for the cube, obviously, when we're talking about volume, what we really want to do is we want to take the area of the face, or of a face of the shape, and multiply it. Right, we're going to multiply by the height backwards, or the depth. Of the object. Okay, so sometimes you will have someone say that is height, width, depth, or it could be length, breadth, height. However you want to put it down, just know that you're taking the area of one of the faces and you are sending that back however high or deep it's going to go and multiplying it all together to get our volume. So that is what our volume is. So we have V equals AH, where we have the area of a face, and we have either the height or the depth of the object right there. So you can see in those 3 examples, the cube, rectangular prism, triangular prism, you can see there that is how those formulas are starting, and just where A is, using whatever the face formula is, or the shape of the formula is for that particular one. So you can see for the cube, the square face, it has a square face. So we're going to use S squared, because that becomes side squared. The side is the same deep or high, so then that becomes times S, which gives us S cubed, which is this little bit here. For the rectangular prism, we also have V equals AH, but this time we have LB, so length times breadth, then times the height, which is why sometimes we say depth instead of height, because if you wanted to look at it a little bit differently, you could say that the rectangle is base times height and then times the depth of the shape of the object. Same for the triangular prism. We've got a triangular face. The triangular face is a half the base times its perpendicular height, and then you've got that depth of your prism. Okay, so let's have a look at some examples. Our first example is a triangular prism. The triangular prism has a base area, or an area of the face, of 15 meters squared and a height or depth of 7.2 meters. Okay, so you can see in our prism diagram those two distances, or those two measurements. Okay, so let's get started with this problem, because we have all the information that we need to know to find the volume. So what is the volume of the triangular prism? Well, let's start with V equals AH. There is our formula, V equals AH. We know the area is 15 meters squared. We're going to times that by 7.2 meters to get our answer, which is going to be 108 centimeters cubed. So it's just 15 times 7.2, and then that becomes 108 centimeters cubed. So you can see there we've measured it in cubic centimeters. Our second example for this video is a rectangular prism this time. Now, a rectangular prism obviously is a rectangle plus some depth. So here we have a length of 8 centimeters, so a little bit more to do in this question, a breadth of 2 centimeters, and a height of 4 centimeters. We want to answer in cubic centimeters, so just like before. So, same deal. A equals AH. Sorry, that should be a V. V equals AH. So what we're going to do is we're going to change that area to length times breadth. So LB and then H, which is really just, fix up the H, LBH, which then is just those three numbers multiplied together. So 8 times 2 times 4. Now, if you work all that out, you're going to get to 64. Okay, and then the only thing missing off that particular answer is going to be the centimeters cubed. Centimeters cubed. Okay. We have one more example. This example is a trapezoidal prism. So we haven't done the cubed one because the cube is a little bit easy because it's just that one number cubed. This one's a trapezoidal prism. So the face for this one is actually a trapezium. So we need the trapezium area formula for this one. Okay, so some important pieces of information for this particular shape. We have A, we have B, okay, we have then got the perpendicular height for that shape. So we have the top, the bottom, the perpendicular height, which is all we need for finding the area of the face, which is this little bit right here. And then we have the depth. So the only other bit of information we need now is this one, because that is the depth or height of the object. Okay, so that's the other piece of information we need. We don't actually need that particular number there. That number's in there to try and distract us, and make us make a mistake to try and trick us a little bit. So if we're on our game, we're not going to be tricked by that. So starting just like we did before, V equals AH. All right, so the area of the face times the height of the object. The area of the face on this one is a trapezium, so we're going to use the half A plus BH times H. Now there's a much easier way of writing that out, which is H on 2 A plus B. That's going to be a slightly easier way of writing it out. All right, and then times the H at the end. Okay, so that's this bit here. And there we have the other bit that we need to do. Okay, let's get that done. So let's put in some numbers. The first H, the H in the purple bit, well, that one's 4 over 2. And then that's going to be 12 plus 15. And then that's going to get multiplied by the orange H, which is also 15. Okay, now we can just put all that all straight through the calculator just as we can. And we're going to get the 810. So the only thing missing now from this particular problem is that cubic units. So in here we have meters. So our measurements are in meters. So we want meters cubed for this one. Okay, hopefully you have found this one useful and it has helped you with some volume of right prisms problems, and we'll catch you in the next video.